What's going on, y'all? It's J Small Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys can see by the title, we're back at it, a little more historical stuff, doing a top 5 performances video for Av. I figured this was a perfect time. Obviously, Av has his battle with Truffaut coming up this weekend. A lot of conversation, just wondering what Av's going to say. Obviously, I think we all, at least I'm very sure Av's going to be great in his performance. But in terms of how he's going to, if he's going to mention Smack, the situation there, where he goes from here, there's a lot of questions. He's at a big crossroads of his career. And possibly, I think, has a 2023 coming up where he can get a lot of big-time matchups, possibly make a Cody run, or just at least have one of his biggest career years to this point. So for those of you that have seen, we're going to go over a few honorable mentions that just missed the cut. The list is based on strength of schedule, importance to your career, as well of course, more than anything, material and, how great your performance was. So we're going to start out with the honorable mentions, and then we can get into the top 5 performances of Av's career. So to kick it off with the honorable mentions, the first battle I want to mention is a recent one from last year, Av versus Danny Myers. Big stage showing. Av's returned to the big stage for the first time in a minute. I think his last big stage before that, real big stage, might have been Arsenal. I could be wrong about that one. But obviously with limited opportunities, he took the Danny battle very, very seriously. In my opinion, won the first and the third of that battle clearly lost the second. It was a very good Danny Myers, but Av's first really blew the roof off the building. And then in his third, turned around and had a round not as good as his first, but really close to that. It's just pure powerhouse punching you get in both of these rounds. I think his Olsen's Twins bar was one of the better, room shakers he had. And just that power punch feel that you get from Av in these big stage scenarios. In a weird way, even though he is great in a small room, I would say that Av might be better on the big stage as he's developed in his career. I just think that the way that he uses, obviously his size, which is funny, it sounds like basketball, but clearly in performing, you see Suge do it, he uses his size. Av's done a way better shot of that. And on top of that, if you can produce haymakers, especially as a pure puncher, it's going to be really easy for you to just blow up the building at least once around. And that's really the key part of it. Had to mention this one. Great win over Danny. Probably easily his best win of last year. And then you get into a small room showing in Av versus JC. Really like this performance. Another one where I feel like Av just won the battle clear. The new Lion King. See that scar much clearer. Really did great. I believe I gave JC the second clear, but I did have Av winning the first and the third. So, even though I said that he is in my opinion, a little better on the big stage, which could be a hot take, you go into a volume battle here versus JC, obviously very, very, dangerous in a small room, and gets a clear win. And then lastly, the last honorable mention that we'll mention is Av versus Gluezy. Now, just off of pure material, this probably could make the top 5. I feel like he's had some other big spots against big comp, whether it be the level of the situation or, where he might have had a little bit less material, but the challenge to actually win was harder, therefore meaning more to his career. But just in terms of pure material, Av on Band Legacy was going crazy on Gluezy. Obviously, Glue is the second where he slaps the weed out of Tay-Rock's hand. So you notice is a lot of these guys are good. You know what I'm saying? Danny did good versus Av. That was a good version of JC versus Av. You get one of the better versions of Gluezy versus Av, and he still nearly got smoked. Outside of that career second, you get the first and third from Av, where he is tweaking. Home game. So the energy, sometimes his content doesn't always get the love from the crowd. And I think that's something that pen-heavy battlers get a lot. Not to say that they're always slept on, but if you give a guy like Av a home game and he's a every bar content type of guy, it's going to hit every bar. It's going to be crazy. All types of moments. The Titanic bar, obvious, is probably the biggest bar that came from this. Jack froze up and then died. But you've seen Titanic, crazy. So for, these honorable mentions, Gluezy, JC, Danny Myers, all really solid performances that I just feel like aren't, by far the standouts for him. But with all those great showings out of the way, we can get into the top 5 battles of Av's career. So, at number 5, to kick off the list, we go back to near the beginning, not the beginning of Av, when he was battling, like John, on Shark Tank and things of that nature. But we do have Av versus Mike P. I believe this is considered a PG battle. So, early on in both their careers, obviously coming from the same class, Av and Mike P were the two best out of their class. I think Av was number 1 around this time for sure coming out of his class. But since Mike was the second best in the class, Nunn was in there as well. He saw both of them. But the material he brought from Mike was just special. This is when Av started putting together those PGs that leads to the Rum Nitty battle, leads to, his ascent into kind of stardom, big stages. And the jet black, like Gwitty's gums, is just one bar. I mean, he really went back to back to back this entire battle.
Don't that mean Mike and Ike? But I'm a different type. I can scrap or let the semi dump. New Mac and this jet black. Shit look like Gwitty gums. Make yellow.
And once again, similar to these other performances in the honorable mentions, Mike was good in this battle. Can I get an interview, a view into the artist in the interview, good angling, and usually that type of good angling, you know, Mike with a very tailored, detailed approach could take out a puncher, but at this point, Av was at too much momentum. And even though people say angles and substance can beat a puncher, if a puncher is that potent, and if he's on the type of run Av was around this time, there's really only so much that you can do besides match his energy and just be great and make it debatable. Sadly, Mike didn't do that, although he had a good performance. Av, in my opinion, took all 3 rounds of this battle clear. Very dominant performance. It's similar to Gluezy. If you want to rank off of just the margin of victory and just like specifically the bar for bar, his Mike and Glue material is really some of the best that he ever rapped. But like I said, big moment competition. We'll get into that into the other top 4, but had to mention his Mike battle as it is, you know, just one of his more dominant and better showings of all time. From there, you can get right into number 4, and at number 4, we have the first classic, debatable classics, you know, not a clear win, but we do have Av versus Geechee Gotti. Traffic 3, by far, the best Traffic card. Traffic 3, right? Yes, it was Traffic. Just making sure about Traffic Strike. But yes, Av versus Geechee on Traffic 3. To me, an instant classic battle. You know, for each of them, I feel like it's really hard to get an instant classic. 6 rounds of great. That for me, instantly, I say the C word, but this is one of those battles. It's a preference battle as well, in my opinion, which you're rarely going to hear me say that on this channel, because I think we throw a lot. People will say preference when their favorite really loses, and they just don't want to admit it. But I do think that you could really argue either way they won this battle. Av is clearly on the pure puncher content side of it, while this is early Geechee Gotti, who comes in with the street talk. You know, this is kind of one of those first amazing thirds. They said, I'll believe something with pigs fly. I said, don't you see the police got helicopters? So you get one of the first classic Geechee third rounds. You get 3 great rounds of punching from Av. So whether you like the substance, whether you like just the straight creative lines, you get what you want all 6 rounds. You get an amazing battle for it. The O-Red and the Debo, the crooked eye, the yuck mouth, incredible bar.
You acting like niggas ain't been in beef before. My man's died, my mother was on ride. Won't even sleeping, bro. And wifey caught me low in the scrap. Looking like, please don't go. 2 wrongs never make it right. And make it even, though, the fight.
But yeah, like I said, me personally, I almost have a different winner every time I watch. You know, I've always thought that Geechee might have gotten a little bit of the better side of this, but like I said, when it's this classic, you really both get a net positive gain from it. And for that, just based off of the material, the moment, and the competition, I feel like this is a great place to put Av's performance against Geechee Gotti as number 4 on his all-time performances. From there, we crack into what my opinion is the top 3 Av performances of all time. And at number 3, we have Av versus Arsenal on Gnome 9, which I have said, in my opinion, is probably the best card in battle rap history just for me. And Av was a part of this by absolutely eviscerating Arsenal. I mean, this is a body bag of the highest body bag tiers. And I do take, you know what I'm saying, strength is it's always important to me, you know, especially if you're able to get a win over another top tier who was great that night. That's so hard to do in this sport. Granted, Arsenal can be a bit of a walkthrough. I think this is one of those battles where he kind of showed up on bullshit Arsenal time, 3 rounds of just rapping syllables and getting his check. But with that being said, it was too big of a moment to not praise what Av did. 3 rounds of great body bag performance. Even if you feel like it's easy to get a body bag, Gnome 9, the pressure that goes into that, possibly one of the, if not the biggest bars of his career with the crowd surf bar, showing how far he came as a performer from just the punch only guy that first had started. Crowd control, performance, pacing, and the haymaker punches on top of that. You just get an absolute masterclass on one of the more prominent cards, and it just goes to show, like I said with the Danny battle, what Av can do given opportunities on the big stage. So Av's body bag win over Arsenal had to make the list and comes in at number 3. And as for number 1 and number 2, I feel like most people narrow down what these would be. Obviously, that first initial run that Av had, like 2015, 2016, special. And he was able to produce another classic that we all know and love, you know what I'm saying? And that classic battle is Av versus Rum Nitty. This one, for many people, could be one. I have no problem with that. For some people, this is the best battle of all time, if not in that top conversation. Possibly the best punch fest, just between 2 punchers ever. And then from there, it's just the moment that you get Rum Nitty coming to the league, although he had battled Steens and chess before this, it kind of in a big spot against the up-and-coming, talent, Av. And after Av's first, no one thought that Nitty could come back. Nitty comes back with the first. Av has a crazy second. I mean, this checks off. This has extreme impact. Extremely, extremely great material. Like I said, a lot of people are going to put this at number one just off his material. His third round alone, 30 under the 40. I mean, what can we say?
Nigga, they was checking for me. Basically, you get to eat off my flow. I'm Victor Sweet. See, that's where we different, geek. Now, that's where we different, geek. Because, see, I've been about that action. 30 under the 40, that's an improper fraction.
So no problem with putting this at one. It is a classic debatable, net positive for both. Both of them can hold this very high up as like a championship, one of their bigger accolades. Set them both up for great, great success over the years. The win that I had, the battle I have at number one is more of a clear victory, which I do value a little bit more, especially since the material is on par. But Av versus Rum Nitty is a classic of the highest degree. We know this, and that's why it is the runner-up on this list. And that leaves us with the number one spot on the list. And for those of you that haven't guessed, in my opinion, the best performance of Av's career is Av versus Chess as the backup battle at Gnome 6. So the fact that these guys were subbed in, Daylight doing Daylight things and no showing DNA in a Gnome. And then they'd pre-prepared this battle. Two of, once again, formidable young talents. A lot of what Av did in 2015, 2016, even though I don't want to say he's plateaued because he's top tier. He's had a Hall of Fame career, in my opinion. But what he really did when he first came on the scene, people had no idea what to do with Av. And his first round versus Chess, in my opinion, probably the best round of his career. And that's a big reason why he ends up here. Really like his second, too. And I have him clearly winning the third. I think his third is great. The shots he sends at all these other battlers, who now at this point, I think he's battled pretty much everyone he sent shots at versus Chess for the most part. I could go back and check that. But Arsenal, DNA, I know he called out one or two more people, but I can't remember. And then the first is just the Hangman.
But if we shoot, better watch who you flame that fella. Tell him put a beam on that Jake so we can aim that better. Because when we bang that metal, the first thing we draw on is the head. I guess he picked the wrong Hangman letter. I'm with that.
Skip over, arm over rock, like I skipped to my Lou. I mean, iconic quotables. Although he did lose the second kind of clear. So you could argue, like I said, the Nitty material maybe a little bit more thorough with the material, all three. Although in a lot of these battles I do have Av, clearly losing around doesn't change the fact that they're amazing performances. But the fact that he won first and third, Gnome debut, kind of subbed in there last minute, and by far, I mean, his first versus Chess, I cannot praise it enough. So you have that high level of a round, a clear win in my opinion in that type of spot, and on your debut on one of these big stages, there's just so many reasons that this Av versus Chess performance is so overly impressive, and for me, it makes it the best performance of Av's career. With that being said, guys, that is my full wrap-up here for the top 5 performances of Av's career. You guys let me know down below in the comments below, what performances do you think I missed? Would you rearrange some? And do you think his true foe performance will be able to make at least the honorable mentions here? I do expect Av to be in rare form. Just so many things leading up into this moment that would make me think, okay, it's going to crescendo into a very, very motivated Av that has a point to prove against an opponent that he might be able to get a big amount of separation on. Respect to true foe. Just really less about true foe and more about how much I respect Av and how dangerous I think he is going in this scenario. And you add the fact it's a home game. So many things. So let me know if you guys think that this weekend he's going to give a performance that could add to a list like this. And just let me know overall what you think of Av's career of these top performances. I think he's had an underrated career in the sense that he is a Hall of Famer. No Verb, no Cow, no Rock, no Surf on his resume, which is ridiculous. Hopefully he better get Hollow this year. I just think that easily has to be booked. But when you look at the lack of kind of those top portions of the resume, the fact he still carved out this great of a career, he's considered this dangerous, lets you know how great really Av is. So, you know what I'm saying? Good. I had a fun time breaking this one down. Also, let me know down below in the comments, who would you like to see next for top 5 performers, top 5 performances through your career? You know what I'm saying? Just all types of interactions. Just trying to give Av his flowers, especially with such a big battle coming up. Humongous busy month in February coming up, guys. So expect tons of content in this channel. Going to be doing a lot of work with LTBR, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the team. So February, guys, just keep an eye out because there'll be a lot of content flying your way for 2023. But it's been J-Smo Reviews again here, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.